All right, let's dive into something pretty deep today. This is a true story, a journey about the mind. It's about that moment you realize the thoughts you've been living with your whole life, well, they might not actually be yours.
This is where it all begins. It's not just a story, it's a confession. A raw, unfiltered look at a personal transformation that, honestly, changes absolutely everything.
I mean, can you imagine that? Living for years, for decades, and then one day it just hits you. This shocking realization that your own mind, the very core of your identity, is just full of junk. Programming you never asked for, never chose. It's not you, it's just garbage that's been piled up by society, by fears, by beliefs that were just handed to you. And that brings us to this first big idea. This feeling, this discovery, it has a name: the borrowed mind. It's the concept that describes that unsettling feeling that the mind you've been using isn't really your own. So, of course, that begs the question, is this just some unique, weird feeling? Or is this something bigger, a fundamental, unspoken part of being human? I mean, really, how many of us are just walking around with minds that are basically on loan from the world around us? And the answer is, well, it's staggering. Billions. The vast, vast majority of people live with a mind that's just packed with external programming. But here's the key. It's not just about living that way. The real turning point is becoming aware of it. That one single moment of awareness, that's where the real journey begins. So let's really break down what we're talking about here. The borrowed mind. You know, ancient traditions actually had a name for this. They called it mental slavery. It's a state where your entire inner world, what you think, what you feel, what you value, isn't coming from a true, authentic place inside you. Nope, it's just an echo of your family, your culture, your school, all of it. Now, to really get a grip on the difference between a real mind and a borrowed one, we need to look at this powerful thought experiment. Let's call it the Tarzan experiment. Okay, so picture this. You've got two identical twins, same DNA, the whole deal. One of them, he's like the classic Tarzan, raised out in nature, completely free from society, from rules, from conditioning. But his twin? He's raised in a totally controlled environment, like a palace, by scientists who give him the absolute best education, the best social training you can imagine. So you fast forward to age 30, and the difference between them is just profound. The Tarzan from nature, he has a totally free mind. He learns straight from life itself and develops what you'd call a real consciousness. The palace Tarzan, on the other hand, his mind is brilliant, but it's full of rules and books. His consciousness is mimicked, it's built from the outside in. One has an authentic self, the other has a perfectly crafted but totally artificial identity. Now, once you see that difference, you can't unsee it. And it starts to change how you look at, well, everything. It can lead to a much darker, much more unsettling view of society. This brings us to the metaphor of the shepherd and the flock. And that's the image that comes into focus. You look out at the world and you see a massive flock of sheep, all moving together, but with no real individual awareness. Everyone's looking outward, at each other, for clues on what to do, how to be, not inward. And what does this flock do? Well, they imitate each other. They get into these petty fights over nothing. They have little, brief moments of happiness. But through it all, they are completely 100% oblivious to the bigger system they're a part of. They have no idea they're being guided, managed, and ultimately controlled. And here it is. This is the terrifying truth at the heart of the metaphor. The shepherd, the force that seems to be protecting and guiding everyone, it's not good. It's not looking out for you. The word used here is satanic, not in a religious sense, but in the sense that it's a force that cancels out your free will. It suppresses who you really are, all for its own purposes. It offers you safety, sure, but the price is your freedom. So, what do you do when you see this? When you realize you're one of the sheep in the flock, being led by that kind of shepherd? You're faced with an absolutely terrifying choice. This is the moment we call choosing the wolf. And this isn't just some abstract idea. This is a real decision made at a specific point in a real life. It's the point of no return. After almost 50 years of living inside the flock, the time came to finally break away. This is the heart of it all. It's basically a declaration of war against comfortable lies. It's saying that a short, dangerous, but real life
is infinitely better than a long, safe, but fake one. It's choosing to face the raw truth head-on, even if it completely destroys you, rather than live another day in that comfortable illusion. But let's be really clear here. In this story, the wolf is not the enemy. The wolf is truth. It's that raw, untamed, unfiltered force of reality. And what it does is it devours the false self, that conditioned, borrowed mind, in order to set your true spirit free. Choosing the wolf means choosing to be consumed by the truth.
But, the journey doesn't just stop there. Making the choice to break free is one thing. Dealing with the aftermath is a whole other story. And that brings us to this final part, the peak and the wounds.
Because the result of this whole awakening, it's huge. It takes you to this state of awareness, this peak of ability and insight that feels like no one's ever been there before. You can do things that other people literally can't even imagine. That's the kind of power you get when you finally reclaim your own mind.
And yet, here's the painful part, the paradox. Even when you're at this incredible peak, the scars from your old life are still there. Those ghosts of your conditioning, the humiliation you felt at school, the stress of trying to fit in, the beatings, whether they were literal or figurative, they don't just magically disappear.
So in those moments of real pressure, that old programming, it just pops right back up. A voice from that old borrowed mind starts whispering those old lies. You're screwed. You're not good enough. You can't do this. You're gonna fail.
And this is the absolute game changer. Now you recognize that voice. You know exactly what it is. It's not you. It's not the truth. It's just an echo, a phantom from that old damned mind. And that's the breakthrough, isn't it? You can finally hear that voice without actually believing it. And in that moment of recognition, you find your freedom. Just knowing where that doubt is coming from completely disarms it. And that whole internal battle, it ends with this simple, powerful, defiant thought. Because that damned mind is a liar. So I can.
And that brings this whole story to a close. But it opens up a really important question for you. We've walked through this incredible, intense process of waking up. But now it's time to turn that question back on yourself. Take a hard look at your own life, your beliefs, your habits, your fears, and ask yourself, who or what is your shepherd?